Today we're going to go over a basic video on what is a good shot. This is something that I see asked pretty frequently, and it's not terribly complicated. Specifically right now we're talking about Amtgard. So what is a good shot in Amtgard? What is a shot that is good enough to count? And what is a shot that you should be taking? So what we're going to do is we're going to cover what the rulebook says, then we're going to give some practical examples of what does count and what doesn't count. So what the rulebook says is that in order to be a good shot, the shot should be two of the three things, right? It should be percussive, it should make like a pop noise. It should stop and deflect, or it should stop entirely, like on a stab. The easiest one to determine is the percussive because it makes an audible noise, it makes a pop. So what does that sound like? Well, it sounds about like that. It's making a noise, it's a sharp pop, that's a good shot. Okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be that loud, but it should be audible to you, it should be audible to your opponent, and that's a good sign that you made good contact. Okay? So the next thing that we're talking about is stop and deflect. Well, what does that look like? So if I'm just doing this, where I'm making a noise, but my sword isn't being deflected or it's not changing direction, that's no good. That's a skim, or it's a skip, or it's a graze, and that doesn't count. So I need to do something that's going to stop and deflect. So if I wanted to do this shot that's right now skimming, I would turn it in more and have it hit like that. Okay? It's stopping essentially, or it would hit and deflect. So it hits and comes off. But the important thing there is that my sword is meaningfully deflected by my target. So this is no good even though it's making noise. But these shots are good because they're meaningfully changing the direction of my sword as I swing. Okay. And then another one is a stab, which isn't going to make a noise, but is going to completely stop on the target. Okay. So if I'm throwing a stab, come down, I throw a stab, and it hooks, it catches, right? So if I'm throwing a stab and it just comes off without really making contact, that's no good. If I just catch with the edge of the sword, I just catch a little bit of it and it just skims off, it's probably no good. What I really want is I want something where the tip, my sword tip is flat, it's going to point towards the center of her mass, and it's going to catch, it's going to stop, okay? Now you can sometimes get shots or stabs that kind of hit and then skip off, but they are still sticking initially, and that's good enough. So if I hit here and then it comes off, the initial is still good and then it's coming off. That's still a good shot. Okay. So for a practical example, a wrap shot should come here to the outside, it should connect, and it should rebound, and it should make an audible pop. Okay. A missed wrap isn't going to make a noise. It's going to pass over her arm, maybe it skims it, but it really doesn't make good contact, it doesn't make an audible pop, my sword's not really changing direction. Same thing if I come underneath, I might skim her forearm or her elbow, but it's not changing direction, it's not making an audible pop, it's not a good shot. So, go ahead and throw her up right here. Good. 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 And we're not throwing hard. In Amtgard, scoring hits is not about being hard, it's about being clean, and it's about making good connection, and it's about doing things deliberately. You're not trying to wail on your opponent, it's just not very important. You can hit them hard if you want to, but generally speaking what you're looking for is that percussive snap, that pop on contact, and a deflection. So again, if I'm throwing something from her shoulder, come up here, throw, hit, and then bounce off. Very clear. If I'm throwing something from her shoulder, and I throw and I press, okay, that's no good. There needs to be that initial contact. If there's not that pop, if I'm just pressing my sword into her, no matter how much contact I'm making, no matter how firm it is, it's not a good shot. This is considered a slide or a press, and it's no good. So if she presses into my forearm, there wasn't that initial pop, it's not making good contact. So what you want to do to fix that is you want to make sure that you're not just bringing forward and pushing into them, but you're getting movement in your arm and your wrist that snaps instead of just pushing. All right, the other thing that we see commonly that doesn't count is high-speed grazes on the torso. Now, sometimes that you'll take these, most notably you'll take these if they hit your nipples. It really hurts, it's really uncomfortable. You'll probably call dead on them anyways. Great, go ahead, I highly encourage that. But they don't technically count. So what happens is if I'm throwing here and I'm just doing a high-speed graze, I'm catching a little bit of her maybe, but it's not really deflecting the tip of my sword. It's not really making a noise. That's no good. Your opponent can choose to take them. That's fine, that's on them, but it's not part of the rules. It's not something that they must do, and if they are doing it, they're being generous. So if you want to make sure that you're getting good connection of a shot that's really going to count and score a hit on the torso, just extend a little bit more. And make sure you're stopping or deflecting on your target area instead of grazing through. Okay, that's the basic primer of what counts as a good shot. I hope that's been helpful.